Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time with Ale and Stevie and Don. Some of us have been working all day. Some of us have just strolled in to do ESPN FC today. and Davey.
We don't want to point their finger, but...
Guilty as charged.
Yep. Fair play. Yeah, fair play, lads. All right, first up, did Postecoglou have a fundamental problem of not understanding how the Premier League works? Ange at Spurs was a failure in the EPL, and Forest has been even worse. Don.
Failure? I mean, he won Spurs a trophy. I mean, he can latch onto it and credit to him. And some of them Spurs players will never forget the ride they had. Yes, the EPL was a failure. I mean, finishing 17th is a disaster. And a lot of Spurs managers have been sacked for finishing 5th and 6th. I don't know about the Forest one, Kay. I just think he has to be given more time. I go back to Glasner when he got the Crystal Palace job, and he's turned that club around, winning a couple of trophies and being now established Premier League side. I just think he deserved a little bit more time.
Stevie, what's more annoying? Signing a player like Wirtz who doesn't perform, or losing a player like Luis Diaz who excels with his new team?
Ooh. I think it's more annoying when you spend a lot of money on somebody and it's not working. Because then you've got to figure it out. At the end of the day, your attitude has to be, Diaz was great for us, he's now gone, he's playing somewhere else, good luck to you, and forget about it. So the Diaz one shouldn't annoy you. You got to look at what you're dealing with and forget everybody else or anybody else. So it would have to be the Wirtz one.
Do you agree, Ale?
Yeah, but I also think that maybe I'm in the minority now. I don't know. I don't know how the scales are tipping now with Florian Wirtz, but I still think that Florian Wirtz will work at Liverpool.
Probably fans would think it would be more annoying for Diaz, right?
Well, because they're actually paying attention to what Luis Diaz is doing. I'm sure that Arne Slot is not thinking, I wonder what Luis Diaz did today for Bayern Munich. I don't think that's how it works. And in fact, the players in the locker room are not thinking about Luis Diaz either. They're thinking about how do we go about winning the game against Manchester United this weekend? How do we go about getting the best version of ourselves? How do we go about being the best that I can be individually and the best that we can be as a team? They are not concerned about what Luis Diaz is doing, especially because Luis Diaz is in Germany. He's in another league. He's playing for another team in another league. And as we know, people in the Premier League tend to be very insular about the Premier League. He's over there. Out of sight, out of mind. I think, in all honesty, you should be far more concerned about the players that are available to you.
Yeah, worry about yourself, all right? Yeah. Okay, does Nottingham Forest have more ambition than Manchester United? The owner has sacked Ange, but United are giving Amorim 3 years potentially, Don.
My days. That is a great question. I mean, surely not. I mean, surely Man United's ambition is to be the very best again. I mean, they've got to prove it. But I understand the question with a bit of tongue-in-cheek. I mean, at least they're willing to, or at least Marinakis is brave enough, if that's the word, to sack a manager after 8 games, 39 days, where Amorim seems as though he's hanging on. Seems like it's the Ten Hag effect, where he lose a couple of games, be under pressure, win one, then no pressure, then lose a couple. So it feels like it's inevitable, only a matter of time. But you never know. A result at Anfield might just turn the tide a little bit if you can get one.
What do you think, Stevie?
No, and Forest don't have more ambition than United. They don't. As I said, right now...
A little cheeky?
Yeah, No, Forest... Listen, Forest's ambition right now is staying in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure Man United and Amorim's ambition is not just staying in the Premier League. So, yeah, straight off the bat, no.
All right, it's Stevie's mince dealer who's in next, actually.
Oh, nice.
Given the success that players who have left Manchester United have had, is it fair to say the issue is not with recruitment, but what they do with the players once they are in the door?
Well, you'd have to say it's both, isn't it? It's got to be both.
I'm focused on Stevie's mince dealer. I'm more interested and entertained.
He's a busy man. He's a rich man because of Stevie.
Yes, very much so.
Well, because when you're recruiting, surely you're recruiting to fill a spot. You know, ideally, every time you bring somebody in, the idea is to make sure that he's better than the one that left, or the one you got rid of, or the one that's too old. But at the same time, you have to put players in an atmosphere where they're going to succeed. And certainly if you're the coach, you need to put them in a position on the field, and the tactics you use with the group of players on the field is so that everybody's successful. So it really is, to me, it's a 50-50 thing.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, with so many contenders struggling, Ale, are Bayern Munich now the favourites to win the Champions League?
You know, Stevie was posing the concern about Manchester City and their dependency on Erling Haaland. So one can ask the same question and pose the same concern about Bayern Munich. What happens if Harry Kane goes down? There just isn't an answer for that problem, and it has not been addressed. They also have, or are short in numbers in the midfield, and are short in numbers in wide areas, in defending areas, outside back. Now, the good news for Bayern Munich, and those that may look at Bayern Munich as a favorite to win Champions League, is that Jamal Musiala is going to come back. Alphonso Davies is going to come back. There are players that are yet to come back to this team and could potentially make this team stronger. But it still goes down to Harry Kane has to be available. If he's not, then those chances that people may be talking about completely disappear, because he is so critical to everything that they do in the attack.
Who's your favourite for the Champions League right now, Don?
I honestly think, I think you're looking at a batch of about 6 teams, 7 teams. 3 from England can win it without a shadow of a doubt. Arsenal, I would imagine, the form they're in, Liverpool and Man City. Bayern's in that conversation, Real, Barca and PSG. I'd be stunned if anyone outside of those teams that I mentioned could win it. I mean, go back to last season in the Champions League, PSG were awful for the first probably 3 or 4 games and only just struggled to sort of get by, and then went on and won the competition. So that could be a Man City, or that could be an Arsenal or a Liverpool. If Bayern come on strong, if Real Madrid, Barca get the act together, they can come on strong. What are Real Madrid, 15 times winners? I'd never write them out. As soon as that Champions League music comes on, that seems to be a telltale sign that they will excel in the competition. So with that sitting on the fence, I think those teams that I mentioned, I'd be absolutely stunned if anyone apart from those teams win it.
Let me stick with you, Don. Next question. Has Granit Xhaka been one of the best signings in the Premier League this season?
Yeah, been amazing. Him and Diarra. I spoke to a friend of mine, Liam Rossigna, who is the manager at Strasbourg, and his dad, Leroy, who I know really well. And he said they've got a real player in Diarra. You know, I know we're talking about Xhaka, but the pair of them bring so much experience. And Granit Xhaka knows the game. He's experienced. He's always been a player with loads of quality. He's turning himself into a real leader. He's fit. He's like a sort of Jordan Henderson figure that when he played for Liverpool, how he's like reliant and he was consistent. And I think he's a signing that the Sunderland fans can sort of gravitate to, thinking, well, he's going to be like a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10 every single week. He's consistent. He plays well. He never lets the team down. He leads by example. So as signings go, even though they signed quite a few Sunderland, Diarra will be amazing for them because he's got everything. But at the minute, Xhaka just looks the perfect signing for Sunderland.
Why are you laughing?
Well, did you talk to somebody's cousin's dad, nephew?
Well, he's only the manager of Strasbourg who managed Diarra, so I think he knows him pretty well.
But the question was about Xhaka anyway.
I know, I was just sort of saying
kidding.
about Diarra.
No. Don't let him off the hook now. Don't let him off the hook, okay?
He gets enough rap. Don, actually, speaking of which, is it real that you got a tweet saying that I bully you, me and Dan?
Yeah, it was like this.
How has anybody come to that conclusion?
Kay, I put it to bed straight away. So someone just sort of said, I really don't like Kay. I really don't like Dan. They bully you. They've bullied you from day one. I really hate Craig because he made you cry on the show. And I'm thinking, none of this has ever happened. The only thing with Craig is I can only imagine that show I came on. When I lost my voice, I couldn't actually speak and it probably looked like I was crying. But I put it to bed straight away. I went, no, I said the reason why Kay and Dan give us so much banter is because it comes from a good place. And they feel as though they can get the best of us and the worst of us. which to me is like a brilliant presenter. So no, I quashed it pretty quickly.
Thanks, Don.
Well,
Really? Leave him alone. Just leave him alone.
if you only, Don, if you only saw her passing out shot sheets with the anger and disdain that she does it on a date, yeah, take that. Take that.
No, it's
Like
one of
Hansi,
them.
he's like Hansi Flick with the shot sheets.
It's one of them.
They wouldn't
Here's
even
a
have the
short
shot sheets all nicely put in order if it
There
wasn't
you
for
go,
me.
okay.
What
Not
happened?
today,
Get
okay?
on, man,
Not
Don.
today. Somebody else did that
Only
today.
for someone, but then I told you all the order.
If they only knew the truth.
Yes.
They
I
only
eat all
knew the
Stevie's
truth.
chocolate.
Behind the smile.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that Dan is the problem.
Yeah.
Guys, when a new signing comes in for big money, how quickly in training do the players know if he's the real deal? Also, have you been in a situation where players on the team do not rate a new arrival and it created tension? Yes, Ali?
Well, you know right away. You do a 5v2 and you know right away. And there are certain players that you just see them touch the ball a couple of times and you go, oh, that's different. Conversely, there are other players that you sign for big money and you see them in the same drill, in the same 5v2, or take a couple of touches and you go, oh, we're in trouble. And you're hoping that maybe he's not a big training session guy. And then let's go and see him out actually when we do 11v11 or maybe in an actual regular game action. And the first couple of touches he takes, you go, oh no, he's bad. He's not good. And yes, it does create tension because coaches, when you make a big signing, they feel the pressure that this guy's got to be on the field because there's money invested in this player. You are now emotionally, physically, and financially invested in that guy. You brought him. That's your guy. And he doesn't fit. And he's horrendous. How do you go about making that decision to get him off the field? Yeah, it creates a lot of tension.
There's always the exception to the rule.
All right.
We had a guy who shall remain nameless who was brought down. He was playing in Scotland and he had a 2-week trial. And for 2 weeks, every day in training, he was arguably as good as anybody else in training. And he signed the contract. And then disappeared. I think he came on as sub once. Wasn't Scottish, he wasn't British, he was from Europe. But for 2 weeks was great. Passed it, ran around.
Were you all
Everybody
excited?
was like that. This guy can play.
Yeah.
And then he signed the contract. And then it was one of them.
What year are we looking at, Stevie?
Look at Don trying to guess.
It was one of them.
What year are we looking at, Stevie? Don's trying to guess.
91, 92.
Oh my days! So I was there.
Yep. Yeah, I'll tell you after.
Are you sure
I'll
it wasn't,
remind you. I'll
you sure it
remind you
wasn't
after.
done?
I know when he first said it, I was like, I hope he's not talking about Don.
I'll
Bully.
remind you after, Don.
Don, have you ever had a situation like this?
Yeah, and I guess the guys will laugh straight away because the first thing you say when you see someone that's bad, you go, "How much? How much did he cost?"
Who signed him?
Honestly, it's just a
The other
typical
one.
line.
Who signed
And
him?
I'll tell you one, and I will mention his name, and I only say this because he was absolutely like a legend at his football club. But we got him at like 38, 39 when I was at Everton. It was Mark Hughes, and he was hopeless in training. It was like hilarious how bad he was in training because he was obviously getting older and he's obviously been this legendary player for Bayern and Man United and all the clubs that he played for. But like from a Monday to Friday, and Stevie's probably had loads of the guys at Liverpool who were just like bad trainers. My word, on a Saturday when he played for us, Mark Hughes, he was an animal. He was a different beast. But it was actually quite funny, like how sort of bad he was in training. And I honestly say that with all due respect, because I love him and we all loved him. But it was just we got the guy at like when he was coming off the tail end of his career. But an animal on a Saturday.
Yeah, Sparky, he was like that his whole career. Everybody that ever played with him, from Man United all the way through, every single person that played with him says the same. Monday to Friday, you're like scratching your head. And on a Saturday, man of the match.
Different
Right?
beast.
Different beast.
Brilliant.
And Paul McGrath was another one. Sheffield United. Paul McGrath, he had his problems, but he couldn't physically train. on a Monday, Tuesday, didn't train Monday, didn't train Tuesday. He had Wednesday off. He didn't train Thursday. He had a cup of tea on a Friday. Man of the match Saturday.
Love it. Nice question. Okay, good stuff, guys. That's all we've got time for in the latest edition of Extra Time. I'm off to bully these lot now. I'll give you a break today, Don.